how did I join Krishna consciousness? By the mercy of a very close friend, Mahamantra.
Oh.
We were friends a long time ago, and he joined up in '78, and I think my brother, myself, and two other friends with our girlfriends, we heard he was going to be arriving in Melbourne Temple, so we came up to sort of save him, because he was obviously a bit disenfranchised and he was missing his friends.
You all lived in Victoria?
We all lived in Victoria, yeah. We all came from Geelong, actually.
Right.
So we came up to the Melbourne Temple, and of course he wasn't there. He'd already come up to here. He was following a bus party. Well, he'd followed a bus party from Perth to Adelaide, and then he sold his car and he joined the bus. So we missed him. But I worked for Telecom, so I would ring him occasionally.
Okay.
And I came up on holidays here, and I spent 4 days here with him, and we put the roof on this pavilion.
Oh, cool.
Which was fun. And then I went home, and while I was here, you know, I was a bit of a, I don't know what I was. I was interested in God.
Yeah.
And he said, so my philosophy's beaten yours. He said, so in the Vedic perspective, you debate, and if the winner, whoever the winner is, the other person will then take on that philosophy because it's a better one than his. Yeah. And then he said, but don't keep your mind closed. And I thought, oh, that's pretty good. Anyway, I went home, and then I rang up one day and he said, do you want to come to India with us? And I said, man, I'd love to come to India. And I said, I'll have to pass it past my wife though.
Yeah.
So
you were married at the time?
I was married at the time.
How old were you?
I was, what was it, 1983, 84. So I would have been, no, 83, 55, 27? 27, I guess, 28.
Yeah.
So I spoke to my wife. She said, yeah, you can go. This is the last holiday you have on your own. So I said, okay. So I rang him up and I said, so what's involved? He said, look, you just have to pay Melbourne Temple the money for the airfare, and you go to the restaurant, and I'll take the money, and then I'll meet you somewhere, Sydney somewhere. So I said, sure, okay. So I went to the temple. He arranged it, and I went to the restaurant and I gave them $1,200 or whatever it was for the airfare. And
was it a return ticket?
A return ticket, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a whole group of devotees. We were all going for Mayapur Festival, for 1984 Mayapur Festival.
Right.
So then I rang him. I said, look, Mantra, I'm ready. I've paid. I'm ready to come. He told me we were going to go to Jagannath Puri and go surfing and see the Taj Mahal and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I was really interested. And he said, oh, I can't come. I've got too much to do here. They were building pine bolts and doing all sorts of things.
Right.
And I thought, oh, no. I said, what am I going to do? He said, don't worry. Melbourne devotees are very polished. They'll look after you. So the Sunday before we were leaving, I went to the Melbourne Temple for the second time. The first time was to save him. The second time was for a Sunday feast and to meet Korma, who was going to look after me.
Ah.
So I met Korma and I went to attend the Sunday feast. And then on the Thursday after, I went to work with a backpack and then went to the temple.
Right.
And the temple introduction was really good because they don't muck around in those days. They gave me dinner, they spoke to me, and they gave me a bed in the Brahmachari ashram. And the next morning they got me up, they dressed me in dhoti and kurta, put tilak. No, they didn't put tilak on me.
You had hair at the time?
Yeah, I had hair and a moustache and goatee. And we went to Mongalati, and then we chanted our rounds. They gave me some beads, and so I chanted with them. And then there was class, greeting the deities, breakfast, which was amazing.
Right.
I couldn't believe the breakfast they had.
Was the first time you had prasadam?
No, I'd had prasadam before, because I'd been to restaurants and things like that.
Right.
And I would cross the road when Harinam was coming. Some people would cross the road to get away from it. I'd go onto that side of the road that the Harinam was on, because at the back there'd be ladies giving out burpees or something. Anyway.
Yeah, right.
So then after breakfast, we had to wait till about 10 o'clock. So in the courtyard of Melbourne, there's this plum tree. So I was just sitting in there chanting away. And I don't know, I just felt extremely blissful. And I thought, this is bizarre. The word that came to my mind was bizarre. This is really bizarre. I'm just feeling so good. And it must be just from this chanting. So anyway, we got on a plane and we flew to India, and I attended the program in Mayapur, the 2 weeks, I think, or a week and a half or something, Gokul Festival. And then we went to Vrindavan. Mayapur was nice, but Vrindavan I really liked. And then we came home, and that's a very short story. There's some instances there too. And then we were on the plane back, and one devotee said to me, "So what are you going to do, Bhakti Greg?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You're going to join up?" And I said, "No, I can't join up. I've got a wife and 2 kids." And I spent the whole time with brahmacharis, basically.
Yeah.
And Prabhu was there.
All right.
And so then he gets, Krishna's going to take away all your family, your wife, your little car, your house. And I said, "What?" And he goes, "Because you've done service in the holy dhams." And another devotee chastised him and told him, "You don't preach like that." Anyway, I went home, and 3 days later my wife asked me to leave. And she's looking at me, looking rather perturbed, and I just laughed because I thought of what this devotee had said to me. And anyway, so then about 8 months later I moved into the temple.
Oh wow.
So that was pretty funny.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it was out of the blue that she asked you to leave. Everything was going all right.
Absolutely out of the blue. Before I went, she said, I don't want you to do anything silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, so Krishna fixed it.
Yeah, right.
In that 8 months, I started reading. I got some Bhagavatams off Aniruddha, and I wanted to come in earlier, but the temple president said, "No, look, just settle it up nicely." So we did that, and then I moved back in. But I remember I was reading one day. I think I was reading the 26 Qualities of a Devotee, because it was the first book I bought, because I was so impressed with the character and the behaviour of the devotees, especially in when we went to India. I got that book because I wanted to read about their qualities. And I'm pretty sure it was in that book somewhere. Could have only been in that or the Bhagavatams. No, I don't think I got far enough through the Bhagavatams to read it, but there's a statement that Krishna makes, or is repeated, that if a devotee is aspiring for Krishna but he's held back by his material attachments, Krishna removes them.
Right.
And I thought about my situation, and I felt like, well, I went, wow, he cares for me. I felt really warm and safe and secure. And that was a great feeling.
Right. Did you have much did you guys know much about Prabhupada? You were inspired by Prabhupada when you read the 26 Qualities. Were you able to
Well, I already found about Prabhupada because I got the 26 Qualities after I'd been to India, so I'd heard a lot.
Right.
Yeah. Prior to that, I hadn't. I remember one of the things Mantra he'd sent, my brother was his main friend. He was a younger brother, and I used to take them surfing because I had the car. But he sent my brother a subscription to the BTG, and my brother never read it.
Right.
And I would read it all the way through, except for the Bhagavatam bit in the middle in those days, because it was just too heavy for me.
Right.
But I'd read about Hare Krishna Dasi's articles, and I'd read about how other people saying about how they came to Krishna, and I had an understanding of the philosophy a little bit.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, right. So that was 83. You said you joined. Were you going?
No, I came up here in 83. I went to India for Mayapur and Vrindavan festivals in 84, February. And I moved in February.
Late 85 or?
February 85, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I started chanting 16 rounds a day in July 84. I made that commitment to chant 16 rounds a day.
Wow. Since July 84, and since then you've been 16?
Minimum.
Every day? Wow.
Well, I do 25 on the codices because Bhavananda asked us to chant 25 on the codices, so I've kept that up.
Wow. Right, 84.
Now, I haven't always done 16 because sometimes it's just been loaded. I've been loaded on many occasions.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But I always catch them up.
Yeah, right. 38 years, 39.
38.
39 as of last month. Oh, sorry. No, is it? Something like that. Yeah.
85, 80.
Yeah.
No, because if it's 85, it'll be 25.
Oh, okay, 85.
So it must be 38. 30, 38. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
No, you're right, 39, because 84 I started chanting 16 rounds a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
right.
So the people ask me, when do you become a devotee? Well, I'm not sure I'm a devotee, but I started chanting 16 rounds a day in 1984.
Right. So, that was 39 years ago. What's inspired you to stay the whole time and keep you going? How long were you in
I don't know
Melbourne?
whether I've been inspired. I just enjoyed it.
Yeah. Right.
I've never felt like
Yeah. You were missing
something's lacking. I really need to go and do something else. That's never occurred to me.
out. Right.
And there's always something to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about there's always something to do
Yeah.
if you're looking for engagement. And I guess as my body fades, I won't be able to do all of those sorts of things. So I'll have to probably focus more on my spiritual life
Right.
because, I'm not always thinking of Krishna.
That's our goal. Takes a while. Yeah. Are you planning to stay here, or when you get older, retire and?
It's an option.
But,
I would like to have a little mud hut somewhere, I
Yeah.
suppose. That's my idea, because the big house I've got at the moment it might become a bit too much.
yeah. It's just you and your wife now.
Just me and my wife, yeah. And
Right.
rather large house.
Right.
We live on a farm now, so it wouldn't make much difference.
Mm-hmm.
Or I wouldn't mind being involved in another project that was really focused on an agrarian lifestyle.
Right.
So going another few steps towards simple living and
Yeah.
high thinking.
Where do they do that?
I don't know anywhere. I really don't. I really don't know anywhere where that's really happening.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely not in Australia anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where,
And it would take a whole lot of things to do that too. You'd have to get a large piece of land,
uh-huh.
and you'd have to allow devotees to move on for nothing, because
Right.
if devotees are going to live simply on the land,
Yeah.
they're not going to need cash. They can't go out and
Yeah.
work as an architect in town and come back at night.
Yeah.
It's about creating,
Spending your time on the.
spending your time on land, creating a way of supporting your family.
Yeah.
And contributing to the group, the community.
When did you meet your wife the last?
I met her when I was down managing New Nundagram, which is a farm we have in Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
She turned up with her 3 kids. About, I think it was 92, I think, I guess. Yeah, 92. Yeah, I think about 92.
Uh-huh.
And I'd been a brahmachari for 7 years, 8 years probably. And she was very enthusiastic for service, and I made the mistake of engaging with her in doing some service. We were distributing prasadam in a small town nearby.
Yeah.
So, to my benefit.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you very much for your time,
No problem.
your association. It's good to hear. Hopefully we can keep doing this more with more devotees, and
Yeah.
it's always amazing to hear devotee stories of how they joined and what keeps them going. Yeah, not only for like the newer generation, but even the other devotees who've been around. So thank you very much. Hare
My
Krishna.
pleasure.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Nandu.
Hare Krishna.